Good afternoon, American DOS. Good afternoon, YouTube subscribers. This is Harper again. I come to you again humble in a soundbite. I want you to know that the most important thing that we have done right now as a group, the most important thing that we have done, the people who have introduced us to the immorality of our existence throughout this the diaspora, through the government policy. The most important thing that we are doing in the democracy is becoming a unit. That's the very most important thing, and that makes me shine on the inside. It delivers something. It gives me admiration. It gives me another reason for living. Inspiration. That's inspiration. So I am inspired along with the rest of my brothers and sisters. And this is what they can't understand. This is what the oppressor and the opposed don't get. This is what they're afraid of. They're actually afraid. And that they don't know where to be right now in terms of that. But this unfortunately on their half, this is what this should cause. It should cause for them to be destable in terms of them oppressing us systematically and very strategically oppressing us as a unit. Us coming to realize that we are a unit no matter what. I'm inspired to that. No matter how we're educated, Tone talks, he's from UCLA, but he remembers that we're a unit. Okay, Yvette Cornell remembers that we're a unit. I mean, he remembers that we're a unit no matter if his brother is just intellectual presence, from a community college. He remembers that we are a unit. We are a unit. And this is what I think that other groups have already obtained. They've never been in a space where they were not a united front. They've never been in a space where they were not a unit. So we have come to realize that we have been in that space. We have been shoved and positioned in that space throughout poverty, throughout denial, neglect, from our inheritance as a group, as the United States honor in terms of history as a group. We have been locked out of the things that normalizes people in our society. So that kept us from basically embracing each other because there was nothing to embrace. Being forced inside of slave quarters, hoods, and stuff like that, when other people accessing capital all around it, and we're paying rent to these people, pushed in on Section 8, black men moved out the home, forced out the home, throughout mothers getting Section 8, promoting all kind of degeneracy through the fourth branch of government, interjecting drugs in the community. I mean, you can go on and on about us and, the system dividing us systematically throughout us being in a docile place, a place of non-protection, when we're supposed to be in a protected class citizenship and other people have obtained. We're not normalized in our first world nation. We're not normalized as natives in our home because of where we come from and how the slave traders descendant, how they were anchored and raised throughout fighting against us just because of the color of our skin, or who we were and who our parents were forced to be, and that was slaves. So basically, we got the debris of being the descendants of slavery. So now we come to terms that on another level, because we've been here before, during Martin Luther King Jr. regime, it was on another level, another time, other stuff was on demand. Now we come to realize that we have been introduced to the fact that we are a unit. I don't care about black people saying, oh, I got a degree and the other black person is here. No, we are a unit. Everybody in this country organized as a unit in their groups. People that come from other countries, they are owning gas stations, their whole family come in there. No matter how much education they got, they've been aided and abetted by their community to do better. That's what we have been locked out of. We've been aided and abetted to submit to the engine of this system. We have aided and abetted to come into the power of and to promote the power that exists, the powers that be, working in their corporate, going to college to become something for the United States government to take taxes from us to feed and abet other people. As a and that's I think that's where our compass has got off, as though we had got successful endeavor had nothing to do with our community, and that's where we're not normalized in the system. And I think we zeroed into that. And they don't like it because it's a real place. It's a real substantial argument. It's a real place. And we intend to rectify that. We intend to rectify. And that's what we will do. That's a very real place. When we see it and are oppressed by it, and it comes from the head, it comes from a power source that has dealt with us with militant force in terms of our regime. Us promoting marching for laws, and we just got a lot of pushback as a group, as a unit. It comes to back being a unit. So we pushed back, and we, as a group, we decided, okay, let's just go and get educated and not worry about this. Let's just, that's forcing ourselves to be receptive in that space throughout brutalization as a unit. Remember, as a unit, Dr. King was educated. Malcolm X, but we were a unit, and that's how they had success in their regime in terms of being a unit, a united front, a group. And I think that's where we get our power from today. I think that's where and I'm glad, pretty much I know that we get our power from the uniting front. The united front. So we've been in a real space in terms of that. All of this stuff that's happened to us, we have ached the failure of being there for so many centuries, even throughout where we were at as power source. But now we realize that it's a problem for us to be ununified as a group. When a family is divided, a house divided against itself will not stand. So we have to repair in terms of that first. But we can't do it without reaching the head of it. And the head of it is political umbrella. And a lot of us been estranged to political environment, to political exchanges. We decided that there's nothing in government for us. We got to get it together. We got to go to college. And we got to graduate. We got to be something. We forgot about the political side of it, the political umbrella. We forgot about those exchanges. As some of our people reign as dignitary, along with us forgetting and just going with what's on the board. And what they have been going with up until now is illegal immigration, moving the needle for them. And I looked at all of that, and that's what brought me into passion to speak on these matters, because I lived it, and a lot of you out there have too. You've lived this and seen it. I've seen this all the time, and this is the idea and the ideology of a power source. It's not our idea of things, but we get on board due to our position in government or our expertise. And what we're doing and what we have been doing is leaning to the powers that be. And now we realize it's not worth it. They don't need us to lean to them. What we have been doing is slowly committing suicide economically, and slowly, basically allowing our laws to go unprotected as an important unit in the society throughout the United States diaspora. We cannot correct anything until we have to correct home first. And this is foremost important, and it's very peculiar even to this day that we're basically here. So I'm inspired to us, and I think this is what they see. They see the fact that no matter what, they don't just look at each other as like, oh, this black person got it together, this one didn't. That's how we were doing. Looking at icons, y'all need to go to school, y'all need to no, we're seeing it on a different level. Of course, we still see that we need to encourage each other, encourage our children, but we're seeing it on a different level now. It's on a higher status of microscope, of what we're looking through now. We're seeing it as though, listen, we are a unit. And due to the fact that how you responded to us politically and unlawfully has positioned us in a space that we're not receptive to. So as a group, if we say something, you are forced to rectify in terms of that. This is the power source that we will push back from, of how we exchange. We have not developed that as in terms of a power source of our own because we had pushback. But now we come. Like Tone Talk said, we coming. We come. Oh, we coming. Like Yvette Cornell say, wait a minute. Just like Professor Black Truth say, oh, uncompromised. So we now we understand. And a lot of us and we need to keep a very important value and a very powerful engine going in the grassroots. Because now a lot of my family who were basically saying they were okay, they living in the matrix, everything okay, and they're intellectual and educated people, but has not really zeroed in to how we got here. Not totally, because it hasn't been introduced to us as a group. Other things were introduced to us. Religion, constantly being introduced. The new fad introduced, which is offensive. The new fad, not our importance. Any other group, when it comes down to politics, they are on board. They are entertained by the knowledge of politics. We're not, because it makes us hurt due to the fact what we've been through in terms of political exchange. However, it's dangerous. So we see now more and more. So this train has already left. But I'm happy for that reason. And I think I just want to elaborate a little bit on watching Breaking Brown. And I just wanted to come and give y'all a little analysis about what I believe that was most important. And that's unity. And I've said this before, but this is what it is. We don't look at each other now and say, oh, he's got an education, a PhD, and he's not my brother. No. No, you're my brother too, because we're all a unit. We forgot the fact that we were one as a group. You see, that's how America was built in terms of groups, or whether or not they can become allies to the power source. And see, this is how it moves. This is how it moves due to how everybody was anchored. Now that we're the first world and we rain wealth and produce all kinds of things for the whole United States and for the whole global, and we're just the first world, and we've been able to achieve this in 2018, and our communities and black people in the slave quarters and mass incarceration is unacceptable due to the fact that it has happened against us and not to reform in terms of how we were affected. And without our inheritance, we also were, so we got the President Clinton got up and he apologized for mass incarceration. And not Joy Reid, but Sanders, Simone Sanders, her words fell apart. See, this is what I was saying earlier. All of this is going to be exposure because our argument is substantial and it has a moral compass. We are deeply in morality, but we're also shrewd about business and political existence. I've tried to tell people that before. This is not a game. This is real, and we move forward. We progress in terms of our betterment and for the greater good. So you can't expect us, as you opposed to ADOS or any other group, to be opposed and receptive to our failure in terms of people taking from us politically. Yeah, systematically. Has nothing to do with, oh, look, Harry, this person makes this kind of money. And no, we're talking about being able to exchange among that in a group on some level. These people that come from other countries, they share the wealth of what they come in contact with. So they gain capital because they have a unit. They haven't been deterred and divided in terms of a group. We have throughout the descent of slavery and institutionalized racism. So we decided to get on board wherever a ship leaves, whether we're with our group or not, as long as it's a success for us And that's what we've corrected. That's what we're correcting now. That's not worth it for us to do that as black people. Even that's not going to hurt anybody, but a lot of them are afraid because what's going to happen, we've zeroed into the fact that they're taking from us in the course of that being effective in our lives, of us being divided, and they're taking from a very powerful special place, and that's our laws and government value. They're even being us. They're even putting on our hats until they access something powerful, and then they look at us and oppress us along with the nation, the power source, the oppressors. And this is no longer going to happen on the backs of black slaves and descendants of slavery, on the backs of my people. This is not longer going to happen because we are very important people and a very special people, very strong people and a brave people that built the first world nation. This is not got. It has nothing to do with, oh, you're better than me. No, that's not what it is. It's the reality of what has happened and what is due. That's what this is. So we have to understand we are not going to continue to be receptive in a foolish mindset in terms of government policy and in the rule of law. The rule of law tells us exactly where we should be, and other people have used that. And they are in our system, and they gain access to capital. And what gives them that power and actually avenue to actually do that is because they are a unit. They haven't been divided, so they can act accordingly. They have a love for themselves. They have an in love. They're pro family. So this gives them a very powerful engine alone. And as we become unified, it does us. Even though we're the founders and the anchor of their success in this country. We are the ones who put the laws in effect. We are the ones who the world started trading on cotton, where our ancestors got out there. We are the ones who ate the failure of slavery in the society and our ancestors. We are the ones that have to unpack all of this. Now we're not just allowing people to do stuff without unpacking it and looking at it. We used to just say, "Oh, come on in." Now that you gave Morehouse millions and millions of dollars, now that you've given to us, now that you put a black president in, we used to say, "Oh, good," and let that be. We don't usually unpack it, but now everything that we exchange on, we are going to unpack it and look at it, whether it's good or it's not good. We have to zero in to see. We have to have a microscope on it to actually see. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to oversee our community with strategic mindset, with the mindset of care and value and specificity. We have to look at it intellectually and intelligently. Who else going to oversee your family with that kind of integrity and that kind of passion besides your own? We have to be in that space. And this is what they did not want from us because they have not been used to it. And by us not being in that space on a strategic level, looking and zeroing into what happens to us, how we exchange in business, government, or whatever, not unpacking and looking at this stuff to see what it actually is, has allowed other people to build off of who we are and further oppress us with the power source. Because we have not done politics, due to us being pushed back from it by militant force. And by the United States having a sanction against us as black people in the country, as slave descendants. So we do away with that. But how we do away with it is approaching and having a voice. With one or two people speaking in terms of a group, a lot of times you're not speaking because you're a unit. We have to have a voice in that sense. In your husband and wife speaking, you have a voice in their intimate relationship. But in terms of legality, you have to go through a lawyer to have a voice. It's different levels of voices on different levels. And in terms of politics, you have to be in a unit. You have to be coming from an anchor space, a group, or something that's identifying you as a participant in terms of the government. You have to be in that space. So we realizing the unity of who we are. And it ain't just about us coming here saying we in unity, all us saying the same thing. It's about us having the the morality for each other first and correcting and reconditioning what has already happened. It's about us basically being anchored in the concern of us, so we can have a better image and a better success to offer and to exchange in the world. So we have to first know who we are. If you don't know who you are and things are all crazy with you, which they executed, you can be exploited on the highest level. I don't care if you're overclass, and this has been proven. You don't have to be underclass and without. If you are overclass in this space where you don't even know who you are, people can exploit you, especially if you do drugs. And then they introduce drugs. It's simple. All you have to do is unpack it, and that's what we're doing. And then you follow the unpacking. You follow the pattern, and you find out the problem, the cause and effect. You find out the issue, like doctors do. When doctors do x-rays and doctors do tests, they follow the pattern of something, and then they zero into the problem. That's what we're doing in every case. And this is a lifestyle for us. We've introduced ourselves to a new lifestyle. This is not just a movement. And that's what they're afraid of. I don't care about them being afraid. This is necessary for our lives. Who would expect you not to take care of your own family? I have to be strategic about my family in order to zero in. I have to have a budget. I have to understand what kind of foods we need, who has high blood pressure. You have to do this as a family. You are first important. What we have done is bought into a social illusion and tried to be a part of something that was oppressing us, our power source. We got out there and we're going to get in the world and we're going to fight. And actually, that was, to me, I believe in divine existence. So that was appropriate at that time, even though it went against us. But it brought us to a certain knowledge also. So therefore, we can actually zero in on another level. We were slaves in this country. We were abused. We got to realize. So a lot of us, we had to go through all this hardship in order to come where we are now. But we intend to be rectified in terms of government policy. And we fought, of course, we fought about these things that we're talking about, but not on these levels. In the level in terms of being prestigious and more sophisticated. Another word for smart. And, we have built an engine where you can walk in the courtroom as an attorney and win a case by your dialogue and what you know and the knowledge, even if the person is guilty. So why we're talking and what we're doing is we're creating a trickle-down effect of family because we're discussing something. We're speaking, we're communicating. People have business meetings. People have family talks. This is what we're doing. Okay? What we're holding in our hands and our computers and stuff is public knowledge. So we can also do assessments in terms of what we say or what we need to know. We have computers. This is something nobody else has been locked out of. We have been distracted from this throughout the fact that I'm not going to power up them. I'm not going to give them their inheritance. We have been, no matter what happened, we have been oppressed over and over again through wars. So we got positioned not to reckon with each other in terms of community. We got positioned and scattered. But that's not going to work because we're too strong of a people. And we have the very enduring legacy, the hardship of what our ancestors experienced. We all know what that feels like. Even the millionaires of us inside the feudalism of white supremacy. Or the power source. I'll put it that way. So we have that in common. But we've realized now, so we start buying into their engines because we want to be free, so to speak. But if we don't come together, we're not free because they still have a power source to further oppress us systematically. You may not can oppress us individually, but systematically. And so we all feel it, and it becomes individual. And then we further destroy ourselves because people who are abused, they don't really like themselves. If they don't have what they need, they become aggravated. So this is what's been going on. But I'll come back and I'll expound even more. But first, I just want to be thankful and congratulate us as a people to become first together. There's nothing wrong with that. And if anybody don't want that, then you have to watch. That's the devil. There's nothing wrong with us doing that. That's sophisticated. That is sophisticated. And it's very appropriate. We don't have to. They don't. We don't have to speak to each other all the time in order to. We have to understand that we don't understand us on a mass level. We understand all black people. We understand us socially and on a personal level. We understand ourselves, but we have been like pushed on a mass level. We have been like pushed back from really who we are, and everybody else know who they are on a mass level. It's people who go from city to city saying, I see them online, and I've seen them online before, saying, "Is there an Indian community out there? Is there an East Indian community in Atlanta? Is there a Hispanic community? Because my grandma is there." They know where they need to go. We don't do that because there's nowhere for us to go, except for slave quarters. What we've done is we mixed in with the ones who pretty much got a successful endeavor, us black people. We mix in with white corporate. And we go into areas where it's high rent, so therefore we don't have to live in disarray throughout the people that are suffering in disenfranchisement of slave descendants that who have not been able to successfully to have a successful endeavor. And that's the most of us. A lot of us, even those who went to college, experienced pushback on these levels. So we have different levels of oppression because a power source sits on top of all of it. Well, that's no longer receptive to us because now we're a group, a unit, and that's diamond. We're diamondizing. We're diamonding in that space. That's important. That's very important. So we can actually speak for each other if there comes a need to. We can actually cover each other in terms of programs. We can actually have a space where people can actually respect us as a people that stand. They have something. They can actually we can have a substance where also we can have people to give to if they want to, or engines to give to. The United States in terms of reparations, like the Jews when they build facility in terms of the Jewish existence, the Holocaust and stuff. They get reparations out there. The Indians when they build stuff, monuments or different things happen in terms of who they are. It comes to their community and it goes to their pockets. And then their businesses, and they're protected because they're already anchored in protected class throughout this. We're not. We never got protected class citizenship. The little things they pass for us, other people parrot. They haven't looked into us strategically and specifically. That's against the law, actually. That's a crime, a humanitarian crime. And if we don't come a unit, they don't have to do it. We can further go into economic genocide and a genocide of a people, and they'll let us do it ourselves for the most part, because we will be desocialized and uncivilized due to neglect and failure, due to a people without the inheritance, due to a people without what they supposed to have to exist in a space. That can cause chaos, and it has. And it can cause us to be exploited and in feudalism. And now we understand, and we have already. So as we remain important, I just want to thank you guys for sharing. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. I love giving you talks. I will come back with more commentary. Thank you so much. Cut the check. Cut the check.